Thank you, Professor Stephen. I think you laid out the development of the Southern grievance very clearly throughout the course of the conflict, and how the Riyadh agreement played out for maybe more relative instability. You clearly said it is not the foundation for stable governments, which has been quite evident. Uh, as much as there are signs of cooperation, I think the dominant theme is uh, more hardships to coordinate a team of rivals, and the developments in Yemen's southern region cannot be disconnected from the earlier session discussion, which is about Marib. And I think that goes back to some regional visions on how the conflict should move forward, both the joint forces on the Tahami coast, as well as the STC and its aligned forces, are part of the vision that predicates that the fall of Marib would have a peaceful scenario for both the Tariq, Saleh, and the STC to have some sort of discussions with the Houthis, and that goes back to a point Nadwa mentioned. There is no clear scenario for a peaceful kind of negotiated settlement between this, which means the conflict might only get messier. The formal agencies that we see today representing X and YZ actors might not be the only ones, and that will have a proliferation of actively engaged entities and dispute on who represents what sort of cause, except for the Houthis, because they have relatively the upper hand right now. And looking back even before the statement of Aidarus for the Guardian, I think they have made clear that the Riyadh agreement is a transitional kind of arrangement for them. So they never abandoned the secession cause, and in fact, there is that one trend I observed from the 1990s. The Southern cause itself has been that kind of the wild card for many politicians to climb up their way in office. And with that political competition among Southern elite, we've seen proliferation of arms claiming to represent the Southern cause itself. And I think even the popularity of the STC, it might have dwindled instead of being boosted up, because now they share power and they have a responsibility alongside political agencies represented in the government. And with that comes responsibility. So no one at this point can say, I'm not part of this government and I demand its restructuring or replacement. Everyone represented bears a share of responsibility. And that is quite controversial, at least on how these actors frame the debate for the public. We've seen the issue of salaries coming up again, and it is a legitimate basic concern, but it's again a reflection of limited revenues. You have dwindling oil prices, they've increased this year. You have contested deposit of basic revenues from many governorates. And I'm unsure about the popularity of the STC itself in Al-Mahra. You've had, in fact, more growing anti-Emirati and anti-Saudi sentiment and change in leadership between Al-Afar. And then you have the National Salvation Council and this disputed representation. In Hadramaut, they might have managed to break the ceiling, but again, Hadramis have their own cause first and then everything else. So there is this layer of unpredictability in the southern scene that we see today. And with that, I think more questions than answers to say that the STC has the way to move forward. In fact, at the regional and international levels, I don't see any medium-term support for secession, mainly at the Security Council, European counterparts, and that hinges mainly on how the political settlement between the primary conflict actors move on to sort of bring all grievances to the table and move forward. I leave it there. Thank you.